just putting it out there and making it happen and starting to make connections. Connections are almost exponential, so like, people will talk about ideas, like I'll make a connection with someone who does a similar thing. For example, there's this lady who found me somehow, and she works with 32 NFL players, and she just wrote a book kind of chronicling their stories of perseverance through obstacles that life faced, that life brought them. And the idea is that it's a kid's book. And so she put out this book for kids to learn from athletes of more eternal life principles, I guess. And she's going to do a series of other like tours and educational programs with these guys and all this stuff, which is really cool. And she keeps talking about how she wants to like help me fundraise like $100,000 next year and all of this stuff. And when you start doing something, kind of the things that you are passionate about spark people's attention, and you have all of these things going your way. So what I found is that things can happen that you never even expected. And a lot of times you have to really think about what you actually want. And so, I mean, I've thought of, I'm definitely going to turn this into a nonprofit soon, and I was going to do it over winter break, and I kind of held off on it because I think I just wanted it to be more defined first and to do another summer. So yeah, I mean, I have lots of ideas, but I think I'm not ready to like say, to pursue one thing yet. But definitely, I guess pursuing nonprofit status for this and expanding this program, and then maybe sparking up other related programs to other places or other types of things relating to the same concepts.
What made you choose the Crow Reservation as compared to like other places?
When I was at Guilford, I met a guy named Justin Bighair, and his mother runs the Center Pole. Her name's Peggy, and she's 65 and she's Crow, and she runs this youth outreach center on the reservation that does tons of work. Number one, giving out like $1 million of donations a year to all of these incredibly poor people, and also doing youth programs. So that was kind of the thing that made me think of doing it there. And then I proposed it and it worked out. So, but yeah, it could go other places. Who knows?
How did you come up with the actual program and integrating this that you had? Did you have people help you with that?
Yeah, so, I mean, a lot of the essence of it is like essentially what my vision is. And in my mind, basketball at its best, and when I was in high school I felt this way a lot, basketball at its best I think can be like a metaphor to highlight the interconnectedness between us. When a team is really playing solely out of their love for one another and their love for their experience. And I mean, I learned a huge amount playing sports about dreams, about goal setting, about selflessness, and so those types of things were really obvious to me in terms of highlighting even more obviously in a program and like directly using it to teach kids these things. And a lot of, people who are athletes here probably would agree that in some of their sports experiences, they've learned life lessons like these. But, in addition to that, the curriculum is still developing. And so I had these basic philosophies. And the thing is, we jumped into this so quickly. I was staffing it up until May. We left for programs Christina said she was coming 10 days before I left. And I was getting t-shirts, raising money, doing all this stuff. So I didn't even have time to write a day-to-day curriculum. And so we actually made the curriculum for this year, and it's going to develop in the future, but all of us collectively made it based on my original ideas, literally every night before the next day of camp. And I had lots of ideas, but it worked out fine. So what would happen, the first week, we did 2 weeks this summer, would be we started out just all doing it, and then it was we couldn't all do it because we'd get mad at each other other. So I would do it every night until like 2 a.m. and they would do other things like pumping balls and getting t-shirts ready and making peanut butter sandwiches and like getting cereal and cups and milk and various things to like give them meals during the day. So yeah, a lot of it was really, developed off of an idea, but also kind of made on the spot. And it's still developing. Like we've been thinking of adding more direct, like life skills like substance abuse education. Alcohol and meth use are like huge on the reservation, and are one of the reasons for increased deprivation and increased depression. And so that's one thing. And also, I talked about this a little bit, but instilling this concept of, and it's actually called, in sociological, like social movement theory, it's called cognitive liberation. And it's this idea that people who are victims of systems of oppression think that it's their fault because of a lack of education. And and we saw that in youth constantly when we were there. Kids would come up to us and not feel comfortable, with personal expression, would feel embarrassed when they wanted more food to take home because they weren't going to get fed until the next day of camp. And so, adding an educational element, and the Center Pole would help a lot with this too, but involving culture and involving historical oppression and kind of showing that their deprivation is not their fault and that it is the system, it is the result of a greater system that they're a victim of. And so that idea, although it's harsh, is almost necessary for creating change agents because it takes away the self-loathing and self-blame and depression. So that's another example of something we might add. So it's a constant developing